Welcome to Money Mind Unlocked. I'm Scott Blaze, and today, I want to share with you a truth that challenges everything we've been taught about wealth. You do not need a high salary to become wealthy. That sentence alone may feel controversial in a world obsessed with six-figure job titles, startup unicorns, and social media success stories. But I'm here to show you how real wealth is not about how much you make, it's about how you manage what you have, what you value, and what you build over time. Let's begin with a story. There were two friends, James and Michael. James was a software engineer making $160 a year. Michael was a high school teacher earning $52. On the surface, James was clearly the wealthier one. He drove a new car, had a condo downtown, and posted vacation pics from Europe every summer. Michael, on the other hand, lived modestly. He rented a small apartment, drove a 10-year-old car, and spent weekends doing freelance tutoring on the side. But here's where the story shifts. 10 years later, Michael had over $300 invested, no debt, and a fully funded emergency fund. He had options, flexibility, and peace of mind. James? He had credit card debt, a massive mortgage, and was living paycheck to paycheck despite the high income. Why? Because James spent more than he made. Every raise became a lifestyle upgrade. Every bonus was gone before it hit his account. Michael, on the other hand, built habits. He saved 20% of every paycheck. He avoided unnecessary expenses. He invested consistently, even when the amount was small. That's the truth most people miss. Income is not the main ingredient of wealth. Behavior is. Think about this. If you make $200 a year and spend $210, you're not wealthy. You're sinking. But if you make $50 and consistently save and invest a portion, you're rising. Because wealth is not what you earn, it's what you keep. This distinction changes everything. Let's break down the 4 key reasons why a high salary does not guarantee wealth, and what actually does. First, lifestyle inflation. It's the silent killer of financial freedom. You get a raise, you celebrate, you upgrade your car, your apartment, your clothes, and before you know it, your expenses rise to meet or even exceed your new income. You feel like you're doing better, but you're actually trapped in the same cycle, just with nicer stuff. True wealth comes when your income goes up but your lifestyle stays grounded. Second, financial awareness. A high salary can lull people into a false sense of security. They think, I make good money, I'm fine, so they don't budget, they don't track spending, they don't plan for the future. But money without intention is like water in your hands, it slips away fast. Financially successful people, regardless of income, pay attention. They know where every dollar is going. They make conscious choices with money, instead of reactive ones. Third, time in the market. Many people think investing is for the wealthy. But the truth is, it's how you become wealthy. Even small amounts invested early compound into massive amounts later. Someone investing $100 a month starting at 25 can end up with more than someone investing $500 a month starting at 40. It's not about how much, it's about how long. The fourth reason, freedom over flash. A high salary often buys appearances, nicer things, status symbols, luxury. But real wealth buys freedom, freedom of time, freedom of choice, freedom from worry. People chasing status often miss the point. People chasing freedom? They build wealth quietly and powerfully. In the next part, I'll walk you through real stories of people who built wealth on modest incomes, the systems they used, and how you can do the same, no matter where you're starting from. Let me introduce you to Anna. She worked as a librarian in a small town. Her starting salary was just $38 a year. Not glamorous, not headline-worthy, But Anna was intentional. She lived below her means, cooked at home, and drove a used car she paid off in full. Every month, she set aside 15% of her income into a Roth IRA and a modest brokerage account. She didn't wait for the perfect time to invest, she just started. 25 years later, Anna had over $500 saved. More importantly, she never felt stressed about money. She retired early, she traveled, she donated, she lived her values. No lottery, no windfall, just simple, consistent action. This is what we mean when we say wealth isn't about income. It's about behavior. Let's break this into a system you can follow, even if your salary isn't high. Step 1. Know your number. What do you actually need to live each month? List your essential expenses: rent, groceries, transportation, insurance, debt payments. Then add a modest buffer. Now subtract that number from your monthly income. That's your wealth gap, what you have available to save, invest, or waste. Step 2. Automate the gap. Set up automatic transfers to savings or investment accounts on payday. Don't wait until the end of the month to see what's left. Pay yourself first, then let your lifestyle adjust around what remains. This one shift alone separates wealthy people from broke people earning the same amount. Step 3. Reject comparison. Comparison is a thief, not just of joy, but of progress. If you're constantly measuring your worth against people with higher salaries or flashier lives, you'll sabotage your own journey. You don't need to catch up. You need to stay consistent. The person quietly investing $250 a month for years will outperform the person making emotional, inconsistent moves with 10 times the income. Step 4. Focus on net worth, not income. Your salary is only one part of the picture. Track your net worth, the total of your assets, savings, investments, property, minus liabilities, debt, loans, obligations. This is your true financial health. And the amazing part? You can grow your net worth steadily even on a modest income. If you lower debt and raise savings every month, your wealth is rising. Step 5. Build margin. Wealth requires breathing room. Start with an emergency fund of $1. Then build to 3 to 6 months of expenses. This margin protects you from surprise bills, medical issues, or job loss, and allows you to stay on your wealth path without panic. Most people fall off financially because they have no buffer. Be different. Build the buffer first. These principles work. They've worked for teachers, baristas, bus drivers, and nurses. They work because they're not about how much you make, they're about what you do. In the next section, I'll share the psychology behind why we chase high salaries, the lies we believe about income, and how to reframe success on your terms. But before we go deeper, if this episode is helping shift your mindset, take a moment now to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It's the best way to support the show and help others unlock their money mind, just like you. Now, let's continue. Let's talk about the emotional side of income and why we often feel like more is the only answer. It starts early. We grow up hearing things like, get a good job so you'll be set. Or, if you want to be rich, you've got to earn big. And on the surface, that advice seems reasonable, but underneath it, we absorb a deeper message, that our income defines our value. This belief leads to dangerous patterns. We begin chasing careers we don't care about because they pay more. We ignore stress, burnout, or purpose in exchange for a bigger paycheck. And when we get that paycheck, we upgrade everything. We feel like we earned it. But what we really earned is a lifestyle we now have to maintain. It's a cycle that traps so many people. Because once your identity is tied to your income, You feel pressure to always make more, even if you hate the work. Even if your mental health suffers. Even if your values get lost along the way. So how do we break that? By detaching wealth from income. Here's the truth. Wealth is built through margin, mindfulness, and momentum, not status. And here's the framework that helps. 1. Purpose over pay. Instead of asking, what pays the most? Ask, what path gives me both income and alignment? When you enjoy your work, you stick with it longer. You grow, you advance, and wealth becomes a byproduct, not just a goal. 2. Enough is a decision. If you don't define what enough looks like, the goalpost will always move. Define your rich life, not someone else's. Maybe that means being debt-free with flexible hours. Maybe it's traveling twice a year and having time for your kids. Whatever it is, write it down. When you define enough, you stop chasing more blindly. 3. Money as a tool, not a trophy. High-income earners often use money to signal success. But true wealth builders use money to design a life they love. They think in terms of freedom, not flex. They optimize for time, not attention. They measure progress by options gained, not stuff accumulated. Once you adopt this mindset, everything shifts. A modest salary becomes a vehicle for progress. You stop waiting for a raise to feel secure. You start creating security by how you handle what you have. Let me remind you of Sarah. She was a graphic designer making $45 a year. Every financial advisor told her she'd never build wealth without doubling her income. But she ignored the noise. She moved to a more affordable city. She picked up freelance projects on weekends. She put 25% of her income into index funds. 10 years later, she wasn't just financially stable, she had saved over $200, owned her own home, and ran her own design studio. It wasn't the income that made her wealthy. It was the way she used it. That's the blueprint. In the final section, I'll give you 5 practical moves you can make right now to grow wealth on any income, and set yourself up for lasting freedom. Let's close this out with 5 moves that will change your financial future, even if your income isn't high. Number 1. Master your cash flow. Most people don't have an income problem, they have a clarity problem. Track every dollar for 30 days. Use a notebook, an app, or a spreadsheet. Doesn't matter. The goal is awareness. When you see where your money goes, you regain control. And control is step 1 toward wealth. Number 2. Eliminate high-interest debt. Credit card debt is the great wealth killer. You can be saving and investing, but if you're paying 20% interest on a balance every month, you're running in place. Make a plan to attack it. Use the debt snowball or avalanche method. Automate your payments. The faster you get out, the faster your money starts working for you, instead of against you. Number 3. Build automatic savings. Create a system that saves without you thinking. Automate a transfer from your checking to your savings the day your paycheck hits. Start small, $20, $50, $100. As your habits strengthen, increase the amount. Your brain adjusts to what's normal. Make saving normal. Number 4. Invest early and often. Don't wait until you have a big salary to start. Start now. Open a Roth IRA or use your company's 401k. Especially if there's a match. Even $100 a month compounds. Remember, you're not trying to time the market. You're trying to give time to the market. Number 5. Build skills that increase value, not just income. Focus on becoming more useful, more resourceful, more creative. This could mean learning communication, negotiation, leadership, or a technical skill. Even if your salary doesn't immediately change, your leverage will. And over time, that leverage leads to opportunity. Bonus rule? Detach self-worth from salary. You are not your paycheck. Your character, consistency, and courage matter far more than a number on a slip of paper. There are janitors who die millionaires. There are six-figure earners who retire broke. The difference is never just the income. It's the mindset. It's the habits. It's the choices made day after day. You have everything you need to start. The only question is, will you? You don't need permission. You don't need perfection. You don't even need a raise. You just need to begin. One move, one step, and then another. This has been Money Mind Unlocked. And remember, you don't need a high salary to be wealthy. You need a high level of intention, a high level of discipline, and a deep commitment to your future self. That future is closer than you think. So start building it, today. Let me leave you with a few final reminders that will anchor your mindset. Especially if you're building wealth on a modest income. First, your story is not behind. Social media will show you 23-year-olds driving Lamborghinis, people quitting their jobs after 6 months to travel the world, or 20-somethings with passive income from businesses you've never heard of. Don't let it shake you. Those snapshots are rarely the whole truth. The real truth? Most wealth is quiet. It's built in silence, with intention. It's built by teachers, mechanics, waiters, nurses, people who show up every day, live on less than they make, and invest what they can. That kind of wealth? It lasts. Second, resist the guilt of frugality. If you're skipping dinners out, passing on upgrades, or saying no when friends suggest expensive plans, it can feel isolating. But remind yourself, you're not being cheap. You're being strategic. You're choosing long-term abundance over short-term indulgence. And the peace that comes from financial independence? It's worth every temporary no. Third, celebrate small wins. Did you save $100 this month? Invest $50? Say no to a purchase you didn't need? That matters. Building wealth isn't about giant leaps. It's about daily votes for your future. Every time you save, delay, budget, or invest, you're casting a vote for who you're becoming. Those votes add up. Fourth, talk about it. Wealth building can be lonely, especially when everyone else seems to be spending without thinking. Find a community. Start conversations. Share this podcast. Normalize financial growth over flashy consumption. You'd be surprised how many people are also trying to figure it out, and how valuable it is to walk the path with others. Lastly, believe in slow power. We live in a world addicted to speed, but some of the strongest, most meaningful things in life take time. Wealth is one of them. Not just financial wealth, but mental wealth, emotional wealth, the wealth of freedom, options, and peace. And that kind of wealth? It's available to you, not someday, but now. Not after a promotion, but today, through the small, intentional choices you make with the income you already have. This is how it begins. Not with luck, not with privilege, but with a decision to live below your means, to invest in your future, to find contentment in simplicity, and to value freedom more than flex. Thank you for spending this time with me. This is Money Mind Unlocked, and I'm honored to be part of your journey. Stay focused, stay humble, and most of all, stay consistent. You've got this. Before we wrap, let me challenge you with a visualization. Picture yourself 5 years from now. You've kept your income steady. Maybe a few raises along the way, but no huge jump. But you've stuck to the plan. You've lived below your means. You've invested every month, even when it wasn't much. You've crushed your debt, tracked your net worth, and built margin. Now it's 5 years later. You're not stressed by bills anymore. You've got $50,000 or even $100,000 invested. You've got an emergency fund that makes you feel calm. You have the freedom to take a sabbatical, pivot careers, or help a friend in need. That's real wealth. Not the loud, showy kind, but the solid, grounded kind. And all of it started with small, deliberate moves, not a massive salary. Now picture the opposite. You chase a high salary. You get the new job. Make 6 figures, but your expenses rise with it. Your apartment doubles in price. Your weekends are filled with pricey meals and reward purchases. You feel good for a while, until something breaks. An unexpected bill, a layoff, a recession, and suddenly, the high salary doesn't protect you, it exposes how little margin you had. It's not about how much you make. It's about how well you protect, direct, and multiply what you have. You don't need a raise to get rich. You need rhythm, a rhythm of discipline, a rhythm of intention, a rhythm of forward momentum. The world will always tell you more is better. But sometimes, less with wisdom beats more with chaos. This is your moment to choose differently, to build slowly, to live intentionally, to grow your wealth without waiting for a salary jump. Thanks for spending this time with me. Now go put it into action. And I'll see you in the next episode. Let's end with this thought. We often overestimate what we can do in a month, and underestimate what we can do in 5 years. You may not have a high-paying job today. You may not feel like you're ahead. But if you stay consistent, living below your means, investing regularly, and tracking your growth, your financial life will transform. Here's the deeper truth. Money isn't the goal. Freedom is. And freedom isn't bought in bulk. It's built one disciplined decision at a time. So choose simplicity over status. Choose clarity over clutter. Choose ownership over excuses. You are not behind. You are right on time, because today, you decided to pay attention. And from that awareness, real wealth is born. Thanks again for listening to Money Mind Unlocked. This has been your host, Scott Blaze. And remember, you don't need a high salary to be wealthy. You just need the courage to start where you are, and the wisdom to keep going. I'll leave you with one final story. There was a man named Luis. He immigrated to the US with very little, worked as a custodian for over 30 years, and lived in a modest one-bedroom home. He never made more than $40 a year. He packed his lunch every day. He never bought a new car. But Luis did something few people do. He invested every month. No matter how small. He read books from the library on money management. He lived simply, and he focused on what he could control. When he passed away in his 70s, Luis had accumulated over $2 million. It shocked everyone, family, friends, even financial advisors. How could someone with such a low salary become so wealthy? The answer: time, consistency, discipline, and humility. You see, Luis didn't need a big salary. He just needed a big vision and small daily actions. And that's the lesson. It doesn't matter how much you start with. What matters is that you start, and that you keep going. No excuses. No waiting. No hoping the next raise will finally change your life. You are the change. You are the strategy. You are the wealth builder. And your story? It's only just beginning. Thank you again for tuning in to this special episode of Money Mind Unlocked. I'm cheering you on, because your future self is worth it. And I believe in the power of small moves done well. This is Scott Blaze. See you next time. One last reminder: wealth is not a finish line. It's a mindset. It's the way you think, the way you plan, and the way you act. Every choice you make is a brick in the foundation of your financial future. And those bricks, laid patiently and intentionally, become the home where freedom lives. You don't need flashy wins. You need quiet courage. You need a plan, a reason, and the resilience to stick to it. So today, Decide, not to wait, not to wish, but to build. You are not your income. You are your habits. And with the right ones, wealth is inevitable. Thanks for being here. This is the beginning of something powerful. Stay the course. You're doing better than you think.